Good morning, and today is shoulder day. Yes, it is, and we're actually up pretty early this morning. I know it says 9:30, but I've been up since around 6. And today, since we're going to be getting to the gym on time, we are going to be actually getting in a decent amount of cardio. Probably going to do 25 minutes today, and the cardio is not tied into these steps I actually want to do. And I have the minimum of 12 to 15,000 steps minimum for a day. Maximum, there's no maximum, just keep getting steps. And I'm happy because I'm almost done my 6 day stretch of working. And it's been very chaotic this last week. Very chaotic. But that's neither here nor there. Today, it's shoulder day, and ultimately, that is what matters. So I can't wait to get to the gym, get these shoulders pumped up, hopefully get some solid rear delt action, get these bad boys really going full cylinder or full barrel or full boulder, whatever you want to call them. And then just have fun doing it. What am I going to listen to? Don't know if it's going to be music, don't know if it's going to be a podcast, but it's going to be listening to something to drown out the thoughts in my head.
So for funsies, I wanted to talk about fast food, and I don't know why. I was just kind of thinking about it. Maybe it had something to do with my thoughts about cheat meals the other day, more specifically pizza rolls. But fast food has kind of lost itself, I think. I mean, coming from someone who's into fitness and things like that, fast food really isn't my thing anyway anymore. But I always felt that fast food was more intended to be a fun, quick, cheap thing for you to do if you just wanted to get a quick snack or you need a meal, don't really feel like cooking. So you just put a few bucks down and you get a meal for a relatively cheap price. Or maybe it's just something fun you do with your friends. You know, you're out, you're partying, and then you're just like, hey, here's McDonald's, here's Taco Bell, here's Burger King, I'm an Arby's, and you just get some food. Like I said, you spend a few bucks and that's about it. However, with a lot of these prices, it's like I'd rather just buy food for myself at home and just make that. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get it as quickly, but it's much cheaper to just buy some packs of ground beef, steak, or like ground chicken, which is what I normally use, and make something with that than going to one of these fast food restaurants and spending like 20 bucks on just a very simple meal. Maybe it's just my area, but the prices around here are getting insane. And this isn't like a high end area that I live in. It's a pretty blue collar part of Pennsylvania. Then again, we are kind of on the outskirts of Philly, so maybe that's why it's kind of reaching out over here. But I can't make no mind of that because I don't know. I think this is affecting everybody. And the one that gets me wild is the price of Five Guys now. I remember it used to be a tradition for my one friend of mine and I, after work every Monday, we would go to Five Guys, grab, well, burgers and fries and a regular drink and have fun, shoot the smeg, talk about work, and just enjoy ourselves. But the price, like, skyrocketed lately. Skyrocketed, sorry. And it's insane. Like, it wasn't even that cheap back then, but it was like 12 bucks from when we used to do it for that whole meal, and now it's like 25 to get all of that stuff. That's just insane. And I am well aware inflation is a thing, but at what point does the convenience no longer become a factor? Or it's become, okay, I'm just going to buy it and make it myself now because I can't afford to pay these higher prices. And Five Guys is my favorite of all of them, and it's probably going to be the one thing I have after my competition, but it's just out of control. Five Guys can kind of get away with it because people are willing to pay that much, but still, it's just insanity.
Back from the fitness center, and that was an awesome shoulder workout. I loved it a lot, and I'm definitely going to do, I don't know what it's called, kind of like the chest fly thing, but I felt it more in my shoulder than I did in my chest. which I figured was going to happen, unless I was doing completely wrong, which I probably was. But like I said, dealt in shoulder day anyway, so it doesn't really matter if I didn't feel it in my chest because I wanted to target my shoulders. But everything else alongside that felt awesome. So we're done at the gym for now, and I am eating my post-workout snack, as my dad would say, which is my protein powder with yogurt, some collagen peptides, and I added in rice cakes. I broke them apart and just piled them in because it's like when you get those cool little yogurt snacks and they have a little like thing on top, you add it in, you stir it in, and it makes it a little bit crunchier. That's the vibe I'm going for with this one. And the protein powder tastes really good on its own, so I'm excited to give this a try. Anyway, I have to snack on this. I gotta get ready for work, and hopefully today's not as chaotic as the entire weekend was, because that'd be bogus. But anyway, then we're going to have our late night discussion. What that discussion is going to be, I'm still figuring it out. But I guarantee it's going to be fun, hopefully. But if not, I try not to do downers. I do every now and again, but because that's just how life is. But anyway, let me eat this. Let me get to work, and I'll catch you guys tonight. Peace out.
I am on my way home right now. I had to make a quick stop at the bank to get some cash, obviously. And tomorrow I got some good news because I am going to be in an industrial video tomorrow, which in other words is saying a training video. Paid work, so that's going to be awesome. I do have to wake up very early, so it's not that far. It's only an hour away, which is not that big of a deal. But I still want to get up early so that way, I'm not late. But anyway, I'm going to get myself home, and then I'm going to eat a little bit because I don't want to eat too much tonight since I have to go to bed essentially immediately. And then we're going to have our nighttime conversation. It's going to be why I'm actually very excited to play a game called The Precinct. It looks so cool. So what I wanted to talk about before I wrap up my day completely is why I'm excited to play The Precinct. Now, as you can see, I bought the limited edition physical copy of it. I didn't buy a digital download because this was a little bit more expensive because, like I say, I'm very proud of game preservation and like collecting video games. And if I can support an indie studio a little bit more, that's what I'm going to do. And for those of you who don't know what this game is, it's basically a GTA clone, like an older GTA game, the one when they were top-down. But you play as the cop instead of the bad guy. And I think that's really cool. It's essentially a role-playing game where you get to play as a police officer in 1983. Sorry, needed to crack my neck there. But one of the main things is I had a similar pseudo experience watching clips of this that I had with Claire Obscure. Claire Obscure, I'm still waiting for a physical copy to come out for that. I mean, that's already out, but to be re-released. I got this faster, and this is genuinely limited edition. And the one thing that stood out to me is I just saw a little bit of gameplay, and it looked simple, very similar to the game Ascent, where it's like a top-down shooter with top-down shooter RPG. But there was just something going on in my head where I just said, I need to play this. And you have no idea how happy I was when I got a chance to look this up. And they had physical copies of it. And I don't think this is done through limited run. I think this might be directly from the actual company. Which, if it is, that's really cool. But, I would love to just support these companies directly, as opposed to buying it from like a third-party print and then release. I don't know how they actually release like physical copies of games, but it's just nice to support an indie studio, especially one that's getting pretty decent reviews. It's not getting, Claire Obscure Oblivion Remake reviews. Of the Oblivion Remake is an indie project, but it does not. It's not like
that level of budget, and it's not that level of cost either. This one did cost me, I think, $40 though. So then again, this is physical. If you get it digitally, it's only like $30. And again, that's what I mean by games like this should have ended the conversation a while ago about why video games need to go up in price. Again, this is an independent game. The game's budget was much lower, so obviously they're going to charge a lesser price. So we forgive that. But still, it's still getting decent reviews. It's not getting like overall glowing reviews, like 10 out of 10s all over. Mostly it's like 7 or 8s, which is still solid, but it's something about it to me just stood out so much because my brain was just thinking, I need an experience. And this looks like a genuine experience. I just finished playing Shadow Warrior 3, and that was a lot of fun, but I've been on this first-person shooter kick lately because I was getting myself hyped for Doom the Dark Ages, and we all see how that played out. Physical copy of this actually has the game on it. Physical copy of Doom the Dark Ages did not. I'm still not letting that go. There's no excuse. But anyway, and some people want to say, well, like the game's files are too big for a Blu-ray. I wanted for Doom the Dark Ages, it wasn't. And 2, my copy of Final Fantasy 13 somewhere up there for the 360, and my copy of Lost Odyssey. Those are 3-disc games. I have Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9 over there. Again, you work with what you have. You put it on multiple discs if you have to. It'll cost a little bit more money, I'm sure, but you got to get those customers a reason to buy your games. And a genuine physical copy is a great reason to buy your game, not a glorified digital copy. But we're not talking about that again because I will go on about that for 17 hours. But the Precinct specifically, I just needed something newer. Something that I haven't experienced in a long time. Like I played The Ascent and that was a lot of fun. But a game where it's about being just the good guy, the cop in this. And the one thing I actually like about this is it looked like his face kind of looks like the Giga Chad meme. I saw they used this face on the Before You Buy video review. And I thought they edited it to look like the Giga Chad, the look. But no, that's actually him, and I think that's really funny. But I still don't know what the overall plot is. They don't really give a plot on the back of the box. I don't know if there is an honest plot to this game, or if it's just you go out and you do missions, and then you rank up to the highest level cop, and then it's huzzah, good day for everyone involved. Either way, though, we need more games like this. And I would love to see a game like this that's like a genuine cop game where you have to follow the book to the T. You got to do the notes, true role-playing cop experience. And this has a little bit of that. I don't think you have to do the paperwork and things like that. But, you do have to follow the law to a certain extent. Like, you can't just go around shooting everybody. The game will punish you for it. It's not like True Crime Streets of LA, where that game, it does the GTA thing where, in that game, if anyone's played it, you play as a cop, but you can still go on homicidal rampages if you want to. This, you're not allowed to do that. They will, the game, I think you get a game over if you do too much BS while on a case. And that's really cool. They actually put rules in that universe. And this is a sequel to another game called American Fugitive, which is more like a traditional GTA clone where you play as the bad guy. And seeing I think that this is the time for the indie studios that are going to start upping their game. I truly believe that. Because with the AAA game industry, them just constantly jacking up their prices over and over and over again. Like Xbox announcing that they're gonna be now releasing their games at $80 when people are already struggling financially. And then one Sony CEO, God bless him, talking about how we should be so lucky to pay $70 for a game. It's like, that's not lucky. That's like an added expense. Like the gaming's supposed to be like leisure, entertainment. It being gatekept by putting too much money on it is gatekeeping.
gatekeeping from people who like might be struggling financially and things like that, and just buying a game every now and again just to entertain themselves, just to kind of get their mind off of their job and how they're living paycheck to paycheck, as most people are. So I think that's like a huge advice I want to give to people right now. Stop buying AAA games. Start buying indie. Buy them physically if you can, so that way they can get true support. Obviously, if you're buying it digitally, you're supporting them either way if you're paying for it. But find a way to get a copy in your hand of a independent game. If I could have got the game Turbo Overkill physically, I would have. If I could have gotten Nightmare Reaper physically, I would have. I don't think they had physical copies. They might have, Limited Run might have done something with it. I never checked. But really do things to help that independent market, because this is the time for the indie scene to really put its fist down and say, this is we're in control now. The CEOs, the big businessmen, they've made gaming less fun over time, chasing trends and all that. And obviously, there's still good games coming out in the AAA scene. I mean, I got Final Fantasy 16. I got Sonic Frontiers. I mean, I'm a huge Sonic fan, so you already know I'm going to praise the heck out of that game. But it's another one of those things. Scarlet Nexus, I forgot I had that on the table over there. But it's one of those things where it's like, thank God, if I'm walking around all day, my hip tightens up, so I have to pop it. But that's neither here nor there. I look at my shelf and I look at how many PS5 games I have. I have 4. Most of the stuff you see there is like any like PlayStation games. Those are like PS4 games that I just play on my PS5 because my PS4 broke. Honestly, I don't think I'd have a PS5 right now if my PS4 didn't break. Then again, I wouldn't be able to play this or Clair Obscur, so I still can't play Clair Obscur because there's no physical copy of it. So I'm really anticipating, like, you have no idea how excited I'm going to be when I can finally play Clair Obscur. But until then, like the Precinct, I think this is going to be a fun little distraction for me while I'm waiting for those physical copies of that game to come out. Clair Obscur, obviously. Because it just looks cool. It looks charming. It has character. That's why I want out of a video game, even if it's not perfect, even if it's not a spectacular 10 out of 10 masterpiece. I just want something with character, charm, and fun. And I said this before and I say it again. If a game is going to charge 10 out of 10 prices, then that game needs to be reviewed and looked at as if it's a 10 out of 10 game. And if it's not absolutely 10 out of 10, it needs to be called out for it. With a game that's much lower budget and costing less, we're going to be more lenient with it. Be more forgiving of its errors. Obviously, if the game's unplayable, that's inexcusable. But if we see the passion, we see the heart, we see the love, and there's still some hiccups in there, that's fine. I mean, it's like a trauma movie. Like, you watch a trauma movie, like you put Poltergeist on, and you watch that because it has charm. It has character. It's made by people who love the art of cinema. And this is made by people who love the art of video games. And that's why I want to support it. That's why I saw those reviews. I just woke up one morning, saw an IGN review, and they were giving it a pretty solid review. It was a 7 out of 10. So, like I said, it wasn't a spectacular review, but it was still a good review. The game has personality. It's made by people who love this art. And that's why I'm excited to play it. Like I said, I might play it and I'm probably gonna be like, you know what, this is a pretty good game. What I want out of it is, I say, this is a pretty good game. I don't say it's a masterpiece. I don't say it's spectacular. But if I say, you know what, that was a pretty good game, and it sticks with me,
stays with me. I think back about it. I talk about it every now and again. Because I've played some spectacular games. Some video games that people would say are absolute masterpieces. But I never talk about them. I'm hoping that when I play this game right here, after I'm done with it, I get that platinum trophy. I go to my friends and be like, guys, you gotta try this game. It's very affordable. It's a low budget, independent, GTA inspired RPG where you play as the cop and you gotta follow the law. And I had a blast with it. That's why I went out of this game. And I think it's gonna give me that. And if it doesn't, it was $40. On the gaming curve, that's not that bad. And for most people, it'll be 30 because most people are probably going to buy this digitally. But the Precinct, like I said, it looks like it has character. It looks like they cared. Anyway, I have to call for the night. Like I said, I got to be up early to get to the shoot. I'll catch you guys